Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today's recipe I'm going to show you how to make a mini naan canopy which is topped with pindi choles. Essentially a delicious appetizer that you can make for your party's upcoming festival season or just any time you're having friends and family over. So what this recipe is essentially is I'm going to be making these mini naans with a multigrain flour. You can also use whole wheat flour or a combination of whole wheat and maida. And I'm going to be flavoring this naan with a garlic and oregano spread that's going to bring out a delicious flavor to the naan. So without wasting any time, let's just dive right in and then start cooking. So to begin making the naan, so I have some multigrain flour with me. So you can also use whole wheat flour, but I've used a half portion of whole wheat flour and a little bit of bajra, a little bit of ragi and a little bit of jowar. Okay, and then I've mixed it all up, and the texture of the naan is going to be a little more nutty and grainy, so it won't be like a traditional naan, but it'll still rise and it'll still taste good. So into this flour I'm going to be adding yeast. So now there are different types of yeast that you get. This is an yeast which is called the instant dry yeast that you get in the market, and you can just directly add it to the flour and you don't need any proofing for this. And I'm going to add in some salt to taste, and I'm going to add in my garlic and oregano spread, which is enriched with omega-3 and has 0% cholesterol and adds a great taste and flavor to the naan, and a very fusion dish. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the Nutrilite garlic and oregano spread into my flour and knead all of them together until you get a little bit of coarse crumbs. So blend the spread right into the flour until it gets well combined, and then once it gets well combined, I'll be adding the dahi and water and knead it to make a nice smooth and yet firm dough. Okay, so now that my spread is nicely combined into this, I'm going to go ahead and add some dahi into my naan. Mix it up, and I'm going to add little water at a time and then knead to make a nice firm dough. Okay, adding dahi gives in that little bit of sourness, just a little bit of, it's called like a yogurt bread, sour yogurt bread or the naan. It tastes really nice. It brings in that little khatta flavor, and plus at the same time makes the naan very soft as well. Okay, so and then I'm just going to go ahead and knead. So now that the dough has come together, I'm just going to go ahead and rest this dough for about 2 hours until it doubles in size. Typically with maida, it'll really double up in size, but because we've added multigrain flours, it's going to be a little more dense and it will not rise up as much, but it will definitely rise. So I'm just going to cover it and keep it in a nice warm place for at least 2 hours. You can even keep it for a longer time, like 2.5, 3, 4 hours, and you'll still be okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover this, make my pindi chole and the coleslaw, and then start making our delicious mini canopies. So I'm going to be topping these mini naans with some coleslaw as well, apart from the pindi chole. So first I'm going to sort of prep up the coleslaw so that it becomes nice and soft and marinated. For a coleslaw, I'm going to be using some purple cabbage. I'm going to add it to a mixing bowl. And I have some grated carrots here with me. I'm just going to go ahead and add that. And some sliced onions. Onions are a must for coleslaw. It just adds in a lot of taste and gives that right sharpness and pungency. And I'm going to add in the salt just a bit, and then I'm going to squeeze in the lemon juice. Depending upon the amount of coleslaw you're going to make, you can squeeze in half a lemon or one full lemon. And then I'm going to be adding my cheesy garlic mayo into this. Mayo is a very important ingredient that goes into making a coleslaw because it brings in a lot of creaminess. You can also add like a tablespoon of a yogurt or dahi along with this to lighten it up and also make it taste really nice. Great. And I'm going to go ahead and spoon in my cheesy garlic mayo into the vegetables. And this mayo is actually enriched with vitamin A, D, and E, and it gives it a great taste for coleslaws, and your children will absolutely love it as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix this up and until all the vegetables get well coated with the mayo and the salt and the lemon juice. And once it does, we'll allow it to marinate and rest. You can actually make coleslaws ahead of time and keep it in the refrigerator. If you like your coleslaw to be crunchy, then make it fresh. If you like it to be soft, then make it ahead of time and just, put it in an airtight box and then refrigerate it. Great. Okay, so now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and, proceed to make my pindi chole. So now I've preheated my pan for the pindi chole and I'm going to be cooking it in this Nutrilite classic spread. And this spread is extremely versatile. You can use it to make your sabzis, dals, even make your pav bhaji, toast your breads, and make your parathas and a lot of different things. It's actually enriched with omega-3 and has 0% cholesterol. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this. And once it melts, I'm going to add my chopped onions, my sliced green chilies, ginger, cardamom, and cinnamon. So I'm going to saute all of these ingredients until the onions become nice and soft and tender, and once it does, I'm going to add in the tomatoes and all the masalas and the cooked chana. So now notice that the onions are lightly turning brown and they've softened as well. So at this stage, I'm going to go ahead and add my pureed tomatoes. You can also add chopped tomatoes, but having pureed tomatoes at home is really handy. I'm just going to go ahead and spoon in some tomato puree into this. And then all the masalas that go into for the pindi chole. So that's your haldi, turmeric powder, garam masala, red chili, coriander powder, and finally the amchur powder. And amchur powder is really an essential ingredient because it brings in a lot of khattaness, which is a chatpata taste to the pindi chole. And towards the end, if you want, you can also add in some chaat masala. But today I'm going to be making something really different, so let's just wait for that. Okay. And just going to give it a stir until the masalas get combined into the tomato mixture, about a few seconds. And once you see that all the masalas are well combined, then go ahead and add my cooked kala chana. So this kala chana I've actually cooked. I soaked it overnight for about 5 to 6 hours or 8 hours, and then cooked it in the pressure cooker with a little bit of salt for about at least 20 minutes, about 8 to 10 whistles. And then you turn off the heat, allow the pressure to release naturally, and then the chana has to be soft. Take a bite. It'll be, this kala chana typically doesn't mash off like the Kabuli chana, but it remains a little whole, but it will be soft when you sort of press it in. Okay, so just going to go ahead and add this here. Give it a stir and keep cooking this until the masala gets well coated into the chana. This will take a good 5 minutes. The more you simmer, the better. And this is essentially going to be a thick pindi chana. It's going to be a thick mixture. Try to make it make most of the water evaporate, not completely. If it's a little juicy, it's okay, but ensure that it's nice thick pindi chana. Okay, so 5 to 10 minutes and our pindi chana will be ready. So after simmering for about 5 minutes, notice that all of the masalas are well coated on the pindi chana. Turn off the heat, give it a taste, check if you need any salt or any additional masala. I had already cooked the chana with some salt, and the classic spread also has some salt in it, so I didn't have to add any more, but do check. Okay, so now that this is done, I'm going to go ahead and make my naan and then assemble the whole thing. So now I'm ready to make my mini naans. So it's been set aside for about 2 hours, and notice that it has risen just a bit and not as much as a whole wheat flour would rise. So now this is just perfect. So I'm just going to lightly notice the air pockets there. It's really nice and it's fluffed up very well, and this is absolutely just perfect for a naan. So I'm just going to, without breaking the air pockets, I'm going to roll them out into mini balls, little large lemon-sized balls to make mini naans. And I'm just going to go ahead and roll these portions, and then after that we will make the naans on the tawa. Okay, so I'm going to roll up these naans. I'm going to dust them in a little flour and roll them up into little thick mini circles. Okay, so it'll be close to about 2.5 inches in diameter, not too large, because they're going to be really mini naans that we're making. Okay, and try to not roll it out too thin. Keep it just just about bite size, right? So you can just pick up these naans and then eat it like a canopy. So I'm just going to keep this aside. So now that I've rolled these mini naans out, I'm going to go ahead and cook them on the tawa and show you how to cook it. There are multiple ways that you can tawa cook the naan. Since these are mini naans, they're a little tricky to actually put it over the flame, but I'll show you another method anyways. So now my tawa is preheated. Sprinkle a little water and check if it's hot. It should sizzle away, and that's how it's, how hot it should be. Okay, so now I'm going to take one naan and apply a little water on one side. So typically what you do when you have a larger naan is you actually stick the one side of the naan into the tawa, and then once you start see bubbles rising up, you would invert it and then cook it on the flame. But let's see how we can do that with a mini naan. Okay, so I've just put it here, and then I'm going to place it on my pan and allow the bubbles to come up on the top. Notice that you can see the small bubbles that are coming up on the naan. This essentially shows that the yeast is rising, and it's just perfect. And once you see that on the top, what you have to do is, if you have an iron tawa and you know that the naan has stuck through properly, you would just invert it and cook the naan on the other side. Keep it a little away from the flame and cook it on the other side, okay, until you see brown spots coming in. But you will also notice that the naan can slightly fall down, and if it does, lift it up with the tongs and then cook it. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and wait until you can see some brown spots. Ensure that it's not directly on the flame. So notice that the naan has a beautiful brown spots on the top, and at this stage I'm just going to go ahead and lift it out of the pan and then cook all the remaining naans the similar way. So now this is my last mini naan that I'm cooking. It's important that, what I didn't mention was you cook it in an iron tawa or a hard anodized tawa, as if you want to do the inverted method of cooking the naan. So it's important that you do that, and so that it sticks to the the tawa, and then only then you can invert it. So hard anodized is non-stick, and so is iron, right? So, and what is important is, if you feel some part of the naan is kacha and is still not done, what you can do is, notice the bottom part, it looks really nice and done. What you can do is turn it over the flame and just quickly turn it around, and then ensure that you cook it. Don't put it directly and let it rest. Just keep doing it, flipping it like a papad, and the heat should just cook it through. That's it. So these mini naans are now done, and I'm ready to assemble my mini naan canopy. So now I'm ready to assemble my mini naan canopies, or the charts that you can call it. I'm going to just quickly press down the puffed areas of the naan so that I can place all my toppings, and it's come out nice and crisp. And to this, I'm going to first spoon in my coleslaw, and I'm going to take a portion of the coleslaw. Notice the brilliant colors from the purple cabbage and the carrots, and it's going to have a great pungency from the onions that we have added. So now that I've added the coleslaw, I'm going to go ahead and spoon in my Pindi Chole. Finally, I'm going to add in this dollop of chutney, which is green chutney, which has a tanginess of lemon, green chilies, and some garlic. And finally, the bhujia. You can add sev or bhujia, but bhujia adds a nice chatpata flavor to this mini canopies, and it tastes really nice. So this is how simple it is to make and delicious it is to make, like a mini naan Pindi Chole canopy, also a chaat that you can call it. A great way to make an appetizer for your parties. It's actually wholesome and filling, and it's healthy, nutritious, because it's chole and multigrain naan, and it's really nice, and it's a very, very different dish that you can make for your parties this festive season, or the holiday season, or whenever you have some friends and family at home. Do give this recipe a try, and when you do, don't forget to share your feedback in the comments below, because as always, I'll be looking to hear back from you. Until then, until next time, happy cooking and healthy eating.